running full speed, but the markets are faster. Quasar Markets Live brings the world's top financial minds to you. Everything you need to know in one place. Learn from elite educators and gain a competitive edge, leveling the playing field for you. Join the conversation. Quasar Markets Live.
Good morning, Quasar Markets Live. Welcome in. I am Howard Greenberg. BigBeat will be in right before the market open or right at market open. He's got a meeting he's got to take care of right now. And we got a markets doing what markets do best right now, waiting, hesitating, and recalibrating as new data seems to come out. Stock futures are modestly lower this morning as traders brace for the delayed November reports. We just got payroll. We do have inflation and global central bank policy all colliding in the next 72 hours or so. No panic selling that we're seeing, maybe a little on the crypto side, but this is also not euphoria. The market's saying sort of show me the data, show me the earnings reports, and then we'll go from there. We are seeing a decent amount of rotation as opposed to liquidation, capital moving out of the crowded AI trades and into parts of the market tied to the real economy, industrials, financials, materials, and selective discretionary names all catching a little bit of a bid today. So let's walk through what's driving the markets this morning, what matters today, and what traders should actually focus on, not the noise. First thing I wanted to take a look at this morning is the VIX, the volatility index, right? 16.76, not too much. It's a little elevated, but definitely not stressed. Anything towards the $16 level, in my opinion, is again where you might want to look at some long-dated calls for next month or the month after here, maybe a call spread. I know I will protect my positions using that today, probably there. If we look at treasury yields since the payroll data came out, we saw a brief jump, but now they've moved back to almost exactly where they were before. So at 4.17, steady, not really spiking. Mr. Flanagan was in yesterday, and unfortunately, looks like his fears sort of happened where he talked about the DXY and its downside into the 97 handle. It did break down into that handle overnight. It has recovered 98, but still not very strong at all. Gold now moving to the upside. So since the payroll data, we are now seeing it move to the upside, but gold had been down before the economic data. And WTI, man, really down there. Oil trading $55 on the WTI, $59 on the Brent. So we are still seeing stress across oil prices. Good for us at the gasoline pump. I know that I'm seeing, low $2 prices are pretty common here in Ohio right now. Bitcoin, as I mentioned, definitely under pressure yesterday. We need to see a recovery back above right about that 89,000 level to think we have upside back towards 90 at all. A lot of liquidations overnight. Same thing, Ethereum dropped briefly below 29, has recovered a little bit better there. But again, need to get back above 3,000 to sort of put a new fresh set of liquidations in the rear view mirror. Doesn't seem like it's happening so far. Big, talking about winners and losers and what's going on. Tesla yesterday continued to move to the upside. Did not set an all-time high, but got back up to 481.77 and hitting a little bit of sell pressure here this morning. Not surprising there, but nice move yesterday to the upside. Looking in the Mag 7. Also, NVIDIA in the news a little bit here today, right? I saw, I think it was Bank of America that made it its call of the year. So we'll see the stock for next year. So pretty aggressive $230 price target I saw there. But on that news, it is up about 27 basis points after being up about 1.5 yesterday. AI trade is still continuing or was continuing to move to the downside. AVGO Broadcom was down about 5.6% Monday and in the middle of its worst 3-day run since COVID. And we can see slated to open up down almost another percentage point here. For me, at some point, I know BigBeat's already in there. If we see it get down towards this 330 level, I am definitely going to pick some up. So I am interested here. Question I have is, does it fill this gap back down to 307? What do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think there. Good morning. No, Big Beat will be in Azora at 9:30. He's in a meeting. So just before the open, he will be here to put his 2 cents or more into the markets and what's going on for sure. But Broadcom definitely on my radar here down at these levels. Like I said, anytime I drop towards that 330, 331 area works for me. There, Service Now, another one that was beat up pretty bad yesterday. That is recovering a little bit here this morning, up about 63 basis points. It was down 11.5% yesterday on acquisition concerns and some downgrades. So again, ServiceNow bouncing back a little bit here, but not really a huge one. Oracle continues to move to the downside also. Down another 34 basis points here today after being down 2.5% yesterday or so. And this one definitely looks like we are going to probably see a fill of the gap here down towards that 176 area where I will be looking to add to my position. So Oracle for me, 176 becomes a key area to watch today. If we look at the sectors across the S&P, it is a mixed bag. Not as many up now as were before the 8:30 data. We do see that XLP, which is consumer staples, up about 13 basis points. XLV, which is the healthcare sector, up about 18 basis points. And then real estate and financial sector slightly to even. And then on the downside, we see technology down about 18 basis points. Energy taking the big hit here today, down about 80 basis points so far. Overnight, we did see the Nikkei lose about 74 basis points. So they had a little bit of weakness over in Asia and in Hong Kong, where the Hang Seng was down about 1.54% here also. And then Europe's followed up, and they were down about 26 basis points. So globe not leading us in the direction we want to see so far doesn't mean we don't get strength across the U.S., but we want to be careful here. I will point out, too, when we're talking about those AI numbers that are opening up, this is very classic late year behavior. These are some of the biggest winners. They are very crowded positions. And there are a lot of hedge fund managers, private equity folks that are looking to lock in gains before the year end. And if you listen closely to the quote from strategist Chris Verone today, there's a very real economy feel to this market. So it does seem like, analysts are now saying traders are putting us in the right position. You're not hearing as much talk about overvalue, right? We're not seeing that talked about as broadly as we were. We'll say advanced decline is slightly negative here, minus about 350. Did open up, we did see it shoot up and was positive here right around 8:30. So we have seen a difference there also. So after that data came out, quickly got a sell-off. Same thing across the Qs. We saw a little bit of a pump up on that 8:30 economic data, but as that data got more digested, we saw a move to the downside. My only interpretation on that is that folks felt maybe initially, because the data came in a little hot, that it would be lead to an assured cut in January. But once the Fed watch didn't really move and rates did not really move, seems to have spooked the market back to the downside here. So we'll see what we get on that. Uh, what has been moving, as I said, Tesla, closed Monday at its 2025 high of 475, up about 18% year to date. One of the bigger movers here this morning. Most of the fundamental news there is robotaxi testing underway in Austin with no human occupants. So that definitely is helping. Its valuation is 1.5 trillion right now, which is larger than the 12 global automakers combined. So I always think it's funny, in theory, they only really make cars at this point, but that's not what they're about. It is a play on technology, batteries, autonomous driving, all these other things. So this stock is definitely not an EV stock. Autonomy, AI, energy storage, platform technology, all of that built in. On the other side of Tesla is Ford, which was seeing a little decent move in the pre-market here, up about 59 basis points. And this is after taking a $19.5 billion hit in EV-related charges. They are pivoting away from large EVs towards hybrids. Big takeaways that I had there is, number one, it shows how policy change can really influence and affect the market. Those structural shifts to EV, and the reason they were so far probably over their skis there was the last administration's real push towards it, and the current administration's pullback from those views and changing of the rules have shown a weakness. But what I'll also point out, the public has sort of spoken also. Things that I thought were interesting is they're not going to make the EV Ford F-150. They are going to do a lightweight truck. They're looking more at the lower end than the higher end. So it shows that the higher end consumer really so far not willing to jump in and be that EV buyer. And the pivot that I liked for Ford is that the battery plants they had down in Kentucky here towards me, they are going to retrofit those or change production to solid state battery storage for data centers and the like. So, Ford, while they are taking a step back from their EV projects, still going to be at the forefront of battery innovation and storage, which would set them up to be able to jump back in. And, it's not like they're running from the technology. It's more of a painful reset, but strategically, this makes it more realistic for them. So actually like that move myself for them. Pfizer in the news, also up about 23 basis points after a nice day yesterday, up 2.24%. They did lower their 2026 guidance, took their EPS outlook below the estimates that we had seen, and talked about how COVID revenue continues to fade. Classic post-pandemic normalization story here. Market more interested in their other products, obviously, as it is pushing away this news and pushing to the upside. In the you never know what you see next sort of slide here, Roku up about 3.98% here this morning. They did get a Morgan Stanley upgrade to overweight with a new target at 135 here. So really pushing up. Has the opportunity for a breakout here. This one should be on your watch list today because any kind of move above 117 really opens them up for a move towards 120, 122. So decent upside there. MicroStrategy, after buying another $1 billion in Bitcoin over the last week and having a rough day yesterday, along with all the crypto stocks in the overall crypto market, is bouncing back a little bit up 1.58%, but a lot of resistance here above it in that 165, 168 zone. So that's where I'm looking here. You're looking more to fade off that area at any resistance. A couple of other early morning movers here. Accenture up about 2.8% I did see that Morgan Stanley raised their target there from 271 to 320, and that has them at a 52, actually not a 52-week high, never mind. But a nice move up by Accenture here, moving well above the linear regression and their 200-day moving average. Nice move up by some of the airlines. Yesterday, we talked about seeing that continuation with Southwest today, up another 2.11%. This is after Barclays raised their estimates or their analyst target on them from 34 to 56. So Southwest getting some analyst love, and now traders following in there for sure. We'll also point out seeing a little bit of a bounce back by some of the Chinese names. We know yesterday, after less than stellar economic data out of China, almost all of the Chinese names were down. Some of the bounce backs today. Kingsoft Cloud Holdings up about 1.57%. Baidu up 42 basis points here today. Also, Intel up 61 basis points here. Part of this, the news that they have hired a former economic advisor to the White House as their new government affairs chief. So up about 61 basis points on or perceived connection to the current White House. And Disney up 43 basis points here today. Wasn't a lot of news, saw some insider buying, but besides that, not a lot pushing it up. But nice little move there by Disney to the upside. Almost at 111 here. So again, BigBeat was telling you guys to buy that when it broke, when it was under 100. So nice little move there. To the downside, Navin, NAVN is the ticker there, down about 7% here after having their earnings report. They did beat technically on both top line revenue and on EPS. They still, though, did lose money overall, and market wasn't that thrilled with their forward guidance. And you can see here that the packaged software company down to about 1360 or down 7% in the pre-market. Not one for me that I'm necessarily looking to buy the dip here or play on it. GitLab, another one of the early morning losers. This one had made a move up since its earnings about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, actually. Last 2 days, though, have been hit pretty hard after reaching back up to the 41 level. Now back down at 37.26. And looks like, your key support right now would be that 35.81 area. So definitely see some weakness out of GitLab. Also, some of the space names that had been moving up last week are getting hit here today. ASTS down about 2.65% so far today. Rocket Labs down 2.56%. Also, did also see that some of the defensive contractors or defense contractors are down on news that maybe we have a little bit of movement over in the Ukraine. So love it for that. Not so good for companies like Halliburton, Kratos, and some of the others that are down. For me, though, those companies, while, the need in Ukraine might have gone down, we know that they've got to rebuild a lot of supplies of munitions and drones across the globe and to push for more drones across the globe. So I will be looking at some of those names here today to see if there's any value in some of those names. AV is one that I like usually, but I'm going to take a look at that entire segment later today. And yeah, maybe AV down in this level here gets interesting. So I'm going to take a look at that. Duluth, there you go. Duluth Holdings had earnings today up 10.5% here. They did have both not a top line revenue beat was actually not there, but their EPS had a lesser loss than expected by about 58%. Excuse me. So Duluth up here nicely right around 10.54. This is one I would probably be looking if it fails in this area at 350 to short on the open here. Again, just based upon the top that it tried to get to that level here on the 22nd of October, failed here back on December 2nd. See, we're challenging it. It's going to be this orange line right now. We're at any kind of resistance here. Could be a decent fade, quite honestly. And then we do have Lennar that will be going into earnings later today. The home builder one that I always keep an eye on all the home builders. So we'll see what we get here. But they are making a little bit of a move to the upside, and they're getting a note from my man Charlie Moon here to take a look at SRXH. XRXH penny pumper up about 135% in the pre-market. And if it can get above $1 here, watch out for a definite squeeze here. These things, these penny pumpers, when they break those key levels, usually explosive moves to the upside. So thank you, Charlie, for that one. I love it. That is definitely a play to keep on your radar here. In fact, I need to add it to my screen here, my watch list, XRXH. And again, those things when they break $1 tend to really make a move. It did it on the open of the or on the at 8:30. I'd be watching it here again. Breaks VWAP. Watch for a nice move to the upside. Okay, we are about 5 minutes from the open so far. Q set to open up down about 1/4 point here on the daily chart. You can see right about at the bottom of the linear regression here. So would it be expecting for it to find some support here today? But on the hourly chart, not looking very strong overall. S&P down another 14 basis points, showing a little bit more strength than we see across the NASDAQ. There you can see we got a lot of resistance just above us, not much support below us, so that's one to keep an eye on here. We are in sort of a key level here on the S&P. Any kind of breakdown below that 678, and I do think you retest 50-day MA at 675. So get some downside risk to the S&P, it looks like here. It remains slightly negative. Advanced decline down about 300. Taking a look at the Mag 7 into open. Netflix pretty flat. Tesla down about 1% after the big boost it had yesterday, up about 3.5%. Meta's down another 0.5 point, basically erasing yesterday's gains. Amazon was down yesterday about 1.5%. Today it has seen a little bit of a bounce back to the upside. Google, Apple, and Microsoft also gave away a little bit yesterday and continuing to see the decline today. All of those slated to be down more than 1% from yesterday. And NVIDIA showing a little bit of strength, like I said, on some analyst upgrades, up about 6 basis points. That also looking weak even here on the short-term chart. So gold continuing to move back to the upside here. Silver, same thing, 63.64. Copper had a good day yesterday, pulling back slightly today, doing about a half back mean reversion there. If we look here across the major names, like I said, Alibaba's still down again, a second day down. It was down 3.5% yesterday, down another percentage point here this morning. We got a little bit of a mixed bag here. The ones that are up there are not up much. Zscaler having a pretty good day, up 96 basis points here. Let's just make sure nothing's moved into the Roku, Accenture, Southwest Airlines, MSTR, those are the biggest names sort of moving to the upside. Okta's having a good day today. OKTA up about 1.37. Do you see Mondelez up 1.35% here? So they are seeing a pretty decent day also. PayPal, which has applied to become a bank here in the United States, following some of the other fintech companies that have recently been giving federal trust charters, up about 1.3% here, but it doesn't even erase yesterday's losses. So that news does not seem to make it move too far. We do have to keep an eye. Mr. Flanagan mentioned it yesterday on Japan. They are going to announce the Bank of Japan expected to raise rates to 0.75%, which would be the highest level in 30 years. We do see that the USD JPY pairing is testing key support right now, right at that 154.50, 155 area. Why does it matter? The stronger yen pressures that carry trade. So we could hear more talk about the unwind of the carry trade, especially across crypto. And it often tightens global liquidity, which impacts, like I said, risk assets, especially crypto, very quickly. Also keeping an eye, like I said, on over in Europe, defense stocks there are sliding on hopes of a Ukraine ceasefire. Rheinmetall, Thales, Leonardo are all down sharply today, so we'll see if the American names follow. Halliburton, Kratos are some of the ones I'm watching personally, and the market is open. Let's see what we get here. Tick is negative to start off with, down about 400, 500. Advanced decline dropped down negative 1230. So we do see a little bit of profit taking or sell off as the market kicks open here. Gold slight pullback on the cash open. Same thing with silver. Bitcoin, on the other hand, a nice push up through here, through the 87,000 level to 87, almost 250 here. There it is, 250 on the open here. So nice move up. First move out of crypto. We like to see that move to the upside. It does look like gold and silver now want to push up. First move on the VIX is slightly to the upside, pretty muted, 1677. So that is pretty low here. Oh, there it goes, a little bit pop to the upside here. Dow Jones does open up about 68 basis points here. And the Russell 200 opens up down about 18 basis points. Excuse me, Russell 2000, not 200. S&P is down about 18 basis points, and the Nasdaq's down 22 basis points here on the first minute of the open. Looking at the MAG, Amazon and Netflix, the only two to open to the upside. Everything else has gone red on the day. Tesla down about 1%. Again, it was up yesterday pretty nicely. So this is just a little bit of a pullback so far. We'll see if we see extended selling come off here. Looking at the sectors of the S&P, we do see energy down almost a full percentage point here. We see consumer discretionary down slightly. Communications and healthcare both down about a quarter percentage point here. On the green side, it does look like consumer staples are up 30 basis points, and then real estate up 20 basis points. So that's what we're seeing so far. Bitcoin unable to hold that 87,250 area, now retracing a little bit here. Let's take a look at the early morning movers. Wow, big sell off of Roku. They're down only up 2.22%. You can see it dumped on the cash open. MSTR attempted to make a jump on the open, but did not see the continuation and follow through you needed to see there. That penny stock we were talking about, SRXH, no real move to the upside here, fading out. So that might have played its way out. We'll see here. And Lennar up about a half a percentage point here. They're going to report their earnings later today, as I mentioned. Tick still negative. Advanced decline, though, has closed that gap. So now it's only down 591. So that's a good sign there. While the tick still staying slightly negative, we do see the Dow Jones holding up here, up 68 basis points on the day. The Russell trying to go positive here, flat on the day so far, unable to make that move. VIX has picked up here, trying to break through the 17 handle at 1696 right now. So we are seeing a little bit of a move there. Bitcoin back at 87K here, so that moved to the upside quickly, got sold off. Oil continuing to just slide lower, 55.44. When will that bottom come? Abercrombie and Fitch down about 2.87%. Again, they had a positive week last week, moving through yesterday where they got some positive AI push all the way up to 120.68, pulled back $5 here. Broadcom, there you go, up 1.27% now. So after dumping down here towards that 335, made a nice move to the upside here, seeing a little bit of recovery. Service now seeing a nice little move to the upside, also up about 2% here. Just taking a look here through my stuff. Okay. Yeah, Oracle getting a little love too. So we do see some of those AI names that had gotten beaten up bouncing back a little bit here. Oracle up 1.23% now. So we are seeing that across the board. Take a look at what the pumpers are here this morning. We do see Ondas holding up about 5% here. We talked about Southwest Airlines up 3.88, continuing to move to the upside. Same thing, Bitcoin mining company Bitdeer up about 3.76% here this morning. AI getting a little bit of love here. Pony AI up about 2.98%. Rigetti up 2.78%. Do see crypto names, MSTR up 2.8%. Galaxy Digital up 2.77%. Again, quantum names also getting some love today. Qubit up 2.6%. On the other side of that, Wingstop up 2.58%. Nice little move to the upside here. So I guess getting into football playoff time, everybody's getting into wing season, right? Crypto mining stocks getting a little bit of love here. Both Mara and Hut up nicely this morning. Let's take a look at the laggards. Navin that we spoke about on the show down about 7.62%. Also see Arrowhead Pharmaceuticals down 7.6 here. Humana getting hit up pretty hard this morning, down about 3%. A lot of these are biotech names, although we do see CoreWeave back to the downside here, about 2.54%. So a little bit of a mixed bag here across it. Nike continuing to quietly hold to the upside here, 67.85. We do know that tomorrow we got earnings on Micron. They are up about 38 basis points. Nice jump up by MSTR here, now up 3.39%. So it broke through that first level of resistance here. Might have some room to run. Watch for a move towards 171 now. Roku continuing to give up those gains we saw earlier, now only up 1%. Again, I mentioned that one would be ripe for a downside move. They rejected there, definitely rejected. Nice bounce back by Tesla here. So now regaining some strength. Tesla trying to move back to the upside here. Gold still cooling off a little bit. We do see that the sectors of the S&P going negative here. Energy now down 1.5%, and really just technology flat on the day, and financials up about 10 basis points now. So we are seeing some selling here. Advanced decline, though, not really moving too far to the downside. So this is just slight hits. It isn't really, I guess it's just a pullback across those Roku and others that make it seem exasperated to the downside. Qs are actually moving back to the upside now, only down 5 basis points. S&P still flat on the day, down about 18 basis points. Dow Jones has given up a little bit of its early morning gains, now only up 58 basis points. It did set an all-time high again this morning at 48,917 earlier. Continue to see upside move by the crypto names. Mara up 2.71%. Robinhood, nice little climb up here, up 2.76% this morning. PayPal, we mentioned, trying to become a federally chartered bank, up 1.78%. Also, chip names are a mixed bag. Broadcom with a nice little move to the upside, up 1.63%, and still moving to the upside. But NVIDIA, TSM, ASML, all to the downside. Across financials, the big three, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, all down about a quarter of a point. JP Morgan actually down a little bit more than half a percentage point here. Goldman Sachs is up about 5 basis points, and Charles Schwab up about 16 basis points here. So a little bit of a mixed bag. Roku now only up 1.77%, back down was that 110 level after challenging 113.37 earlier today. Zscaler, another one that had been up in the pre-market, now down 13 basis points. Continuing to see a nice move to the upside by Southwest. Southwest squeezing to the upside, 4.22%. That definitely has the most steam so far. Tick still negative, advanced decline now down almost 1,000. So we are seeing a little bit of a sell-off, and we see the S&P, although the Dow Jones bounced right back up. S&P now down 33 basis points, moving to the downside. Q's down 30 basis points, moving to the downside. RUT is pretty flat on the day. VIX now 17.33, so starting to tick off. So the volatility part has been picking up here over the last 2 days. Again, yesterday we were talking about the VIX when it was in the low 16s. Gold at 43.24, cooling off after jumping up this morning. Same thing with silver. Copper made a pretty decent move to the upside yesterday, now pulling back pretty hard here today. Bitcoin holding the 87 pretty well so far, and the same thing. Ethereum holding 29.35. Firm, nice little move to the upside today. The buy now, pay later, up about 3.29%. Constellation Energy up 1.13%. Coinbase up about 1.4%, pulling back a little bit. Costco continuing to be under pressure now at 850. I was upset when I missed this one before, but I have not gotten in yet. I am definitely getting to a point where it gets interesting for me here. Question is exactly where is that? Like that 850 might not be bad. So I'm definitely interested in Costco here. Disney now up 2% today, 112.76. Nice move to the upside. Ford holding up pretty well too, still up 1.76% here after taking that one-time hit on their EV business. Robinhood up 2% here this morning. Levi Strauss up 2%, I would say, in sympathy play from Duluth. Mara trying to get back above 11 here, but struggling a little bit. Microsoft down a half a percentage point here. MSTR off highs of the day, moving back down a little bit so far. And Oracle giving up some of those gains it had, now only up 22 basis points and moving to the downside. Okay, well, I guess BigBeat is not joining me here today. And when I'm solo, I only usually go for 45 minutes. I can only talk so much. Everybody, for Quasar Markets, have a great day. It does look like the markets are moving still to the downside. So do look for a little bit of a weakness here today. Not much more economic data coming out till Thursday's CPI. Everybody have a fantastic day.